So I know the dual triangle event for the light and earth was primarily focused around Blue Eyes Primite, but hey, in my opinion, White Forest Toy Box is really strong. In this video, we're going to be covering a couple of matches going up against Tearlament, which is by far the most popular dark and water strategy, as well as the Salamangreat, which is very OP when it goes first. We're going to be going second in both of those. In this matchup here, you can see that the opponent starts off very strong with the I'm Seti. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I purge the I'm Seti search? That would have been a perfect 2-for-1, right? Well, the opponent needs to control a card, so I couldn't purge it. So they are going to be able to set up the Gold Sark. I do end up Ghost Ogreing the Gold Sark, but they have the field spell, unfortunately, and they're gonna. I'm opting not to purge that. But you know, they do end up having a Sharon in hand, which is gonna be able to pitch the Horus that they search and still make a zombie vampire for the mill. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, you're kind of gambling on this zombie vampire hitting. I save my purge this whole time. Can't purge the zombie vampire. Let's see what they hit though. Holy crap, they hit the nuts. They get a King of the Swamp, which I don't know why they brought it to their field. They get a fusion in the Sharon, and they get a draw off of the Shadal Beast. The Grief doesn't have anything to bring back. On our side, we get a Toy Box, a Fiendsmith Engraver, a Nibiru, and a Toy Box. So that's pretty good for the opponent. But yeah, I'm not sure why they opted to bring back King of the Swamp here. Regardless, we're not going to purge the draw one. We want to actually purge the fusion of the Kit Kalos, which we assume that they're going to make here. And that's exactly what they do, because they have no Tearlament name to send for Kit Kalos to bring back unless they drew the Kashtira Tearlament or the Rhino Heart, which is limited to one. So I'm banking on they didn't draw a card to trigger the Kit Kalos, and so I'm going to opt to purge the Kit Kalos. A little bit of a gamble on my side, but pretty good odds for that decision there. And sure enough, they set a card and pass. So yeah, no interruption. They, you know, again, if you're in the dark event, like, how are you not playing IP SP? Like, you should have linked these into IP and then be ready to go into SP for double interaction. But yeah, they have a Destrudo Engrave as well that they could have brought back, you know, pay 4,000 life, but an extra body to go into some link plays. But they probably weren't on much, if any, links. We're going to start off by setting the Toy Soldier, sending it for the LZ of the White Forest. Toy Soldier will trigger in Graveyard, and of course we search for Sylvie. The opponent, I mean, Tearlament doesn't really play Imperm, so I'm like, you know, what could this really be? You know, obviously not a Solic or anything because their field wasn't lighting up. But off the Toy Soldier special summon, we're going to be able to set up Toy Box, get the two toys on the field here. And then normal summon Sylvie, search for Tails, go into Resilia. Resilia will send Tails in order to search for LZ Azamina. Tails will reset itself, and then activate Tails to search for Rusia. Now, again, you could do a number of different things here, but what I do in this matchup is actually kind of funny. We're going to go into Diabels and grab back the Purge. Whoa, didn't mean to pause there. Grab back Purge, and then LZ Azamina will search for Morian here. And then we're going to be able to special summon the Rusia. Rusia send the Toy Tank, draw into a Feather Duster, which is actually pretty cool here. I play this because I'm playing Thrust, and I'm like, you know, those Macro Cosmos decks and stuff that people are playing is kind of annoying. So let me just Duster. Yeah, bait out a Solemn or something, but at least it baits out an Interruption. They ended up drawing into Crime, and Crime gets destroyed, but they have no banished Tearlament card to grab back with the Crime, so I get rid of the field spell and their back row Crime, which is really good. And I have a bunch of bodies on field. So what I do here is I link off both the toy cards into Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now, my opponent did end up milling my Fiendsmith Engraver, so no point in going into Link 1 Requiem in order to summon the Engraver from deck, because I can't. So I instead, I mean, this is a little bit of a misplay on my end. I end up using the Moon effect. I kind of sped through it there, which I wish I didn't do, but I use the Moon effect to target the Kit Kalos, and then use Kit Kalos and Sharon to link off with the Moon and the Resilia to go into Underworld Goddess. I should have not linked off the Sharon. I should have linked off the Zombie Vampire, because I could have just beat over the Sharon, but it's fine because I'm going to do some other cool plays here. We're going to bring back Fiendsmith Engraver by returning the Moon, bring back Sylvie by returning Resilia, link off Moon of the Closed Heaven into Requiem. Not that I can special summon anything. double link the Sylvie and the Requiem into sequence, and then Requiem equipped to Fiendsmith Engraver to send to get rid of the zombie vampire. Now they're just left with a King of the Swamp. Ling off the Diabel, because I'm just being cheeky, into Moon of the Closed Heaven. And I just do that so I can get the Fiendsmith Engraver in graveyard, so I can use sequence to fuse into Fiendsmith Lacrima by returning Engraver, so I can use the Requiem next turn, but I also return the Requiem as well. So Engraver and Requiem back into the deck, because off of the Lacrima special summon, I can actually revive back the Underworld Goddess, which against Tearlament is very strong because it can negate the summon of a monster from the graveyard. So now we just go battle phase, we beat over, we've got Moon and we've got Underworld Goddess on the board here with the Lacrima and full extension for Fiendsmith. Next turn, we've got Call by the Grave, Veiler, Purge, Morian. The opponent has absolutely zero chance and ends up scooping up that match. Hey everybody, Quantum here, and I have a banger of a match to show you. If you watched my channel before on the Master Duel content, you know that we played White Forest to pretty much, in my opinion, for me, a historic run with the White Forest deck in the March 2025 Duelist Cup. And so I took it into the Light and Earth portion of this event here for the Dual Triangle. And if you've ever played this event, you know that Salamangreat was by far the best fire deck that you could be using, and what you're going to see here is me going second against the optimal turn 1 Salamangreat board. So the opponent, Gazelle, dump counter trap, which you're going to be able to get back. They've got Code of Soul extension. What's crazy is this opponent got a pretty nice hand. They literally got like every extension without actually needing to go into Brotherhood of the Fire Fist. But I have no hand traps here. I do have one board breaker and a duster, but that gets cleaned up by the counter trap negate, or their spells and traps can be saved by the Bailings, potentially the face up ones at least. But the reason I don't scoop here is because I'm like, well, with the Fiendsmith, I might be able to bait out one of the interruptions, and then Feather Duster might be able to clear the rage. So yeah, the opponent goes for Sunlight Wolf, return back the Omni Negate counter trap, which is pretty good. They have the Weasel that they searched off of. No, actually, they had Weasel in hand already, right? Because they searched Spinny off of Fire. Like, this guy just had all the extensions. Again, if you've played against Salamangreat at a, somebody who knows how to play the deck, and you face the turn 1 board, it's almost unbeatable for this event. I know because I've played Salamangreat for the Fire and Wind portion, right? Going second, not a problem. You have Ash, Fulos, right? Imperms, etc. The only thing that really beats you is Nibiru sometimes, and we do play Nibiru, but we don't have it here. The turn 1 board, I don't think I've ever made the full board and lost in like 30 matches that I played with this deck when I played the Fire portion on 2 accounts. Whenever I made like the first, whenever I went first and made the full board, I don't think I ever lost. So it's like, it's almost impossible to lose this. The opponent here, let's count their interruptions. They've got Promethean Princess is 1. They've got Code of Soul into another Pyro Phoenix, which is a board wipe. That's 2. They've got potentially an Ash Blossom because they have 2 unknowns. I know Spinny and I know Gazelle that were brought to hand. And then they might have Ash because they drew off Weasel as well. But we're not going to count that as an interruption. So we got 3 so far, right? We've got Pyro Phoenix board wipe. We've got Promethean Princess. We've got Counter Trap. And we've got Salamangreat Rage, which is pop 4, which is essentially another full board wipe. And then aside from that, that's it. So we got to play through 2 full board wipes, a Princess pop, and an Omni Negate. All right. So I'm like, all right, this is fine because maybe Engraver can bait out some interruptions here. Let's see, right? I need to send this, grab the Tract, right? Grab Lurie, discard, go through the Fiendsmith line. I literally draw the worst card possible. Out of 35 cards in the deck, I draw the 1 card I don't want to see. Oh, I guess there's 2 cards I don't want to draw, right? The first one is Track, and the second one is Lurie. I need to search Track to search Lurie. So drawing this here, I honestly was like, maybe I should just scoop. Like, I just waited. Like, Konami really made me wait through that combo just for me to scoop because I drew Lurie for turn, right? It's like, it's so bad because now my whole Fiendsmith line is shut down. So I'm like, whatever, let me just try. I sat through this full combo. Let's see what we can do here. We discard Fiendsmith, search for Tract. I can't activate Tract. I can't waste my normal summon on Lurie. I have to Duster here. My thinking is, if they Omni Negate my normal summon here, my turn ends. I just lose, right? They may know how to play against White Forest, and they may know shutting down the Sylvie as the normal summon could win them the game. If I have LZ Extender or something, I might be able to play, but I probably would have started with that. So I bait out the Omni Negate with the Duster, so that's good. 1 down, 2 board wipes, and a Princess to play through now. I activate Toy Box to try to bait the Rage or the Phoenix, thinking like, you don't want me to activate this, right? Pop it here. We activate Toy Box though, so this brings up 2 more extenders, and that's actually pretty good for me here. So now if they opt to pop these, they will come back. So they need to use both their pops to fully wipe out the Toy Soldier and tank. We normal summon Sylvie, Ash check here. Thankfully they do not have Ash, because that would have basically lost me the game if they had Ash. But the Sylvie they can't negate now, right? They can only pop it with the Pyro Phoenix. They cannot pop with Princess because the Sylvie is not a special summon, but they can pop with Rage as well. But don't waste either one here. They wait. We grab the illusion, the tails, and search for the LZ. Now, again, if they know White Forest, they probably would like, well, if I end up popping this, you can't activate your tails because you need a spellcaster or illusion to activate it. And these are Machine and Warrior. So if they would have got rid of the Sylvie, I wouldn't not have been able to extend with the tails. But again, they don't want to waste a board wipe on just the Sylvie or on cards that come back. The fact that I have to play through 2 board wipes is actually a big problem, because what I could do with level 4s on this event is I can go into the Zodiac line to go into a Zeus to board wipe. But because they can pop the Zodiac before I can make the Zeus, right? They can pop twice. I have to like play around it. It's so annoying. So we send a Toy Soldier for the LZ, search out the Azamina LZ, bring back Toy Soldier, effect to search for another Toy Box, because I expect that this Toy Box is going to get sent or wiped out. We synchro into the Resilia, and Resilia will send Toy Box, and the reason again for that is because if I send this and special summon it, now if they pop them, these cards don't come back. I need some sort of follow-up, so I keep the Toy Tank face down for now, because if they pop it, I need it to come back, because I still need some kind of extender. Search out the Rusia and special summon it. That, for some reason, now opts the opponent to use their Princess Interruption. They pop my Soldier. I don't know if they're fearing another Synchro 8. Like, what would they fear here that I can go into? The only other card that I actually play as a Synchro 8 would be the Psyframe Lord Omega. But sure. Princess pop. That turns my Thrust online now. I probably should have used Rusia to send track and draw first. Because I didn't expect the opponent to get spooked by me searching for a Talents, and then that opts them to trigger their Code of Soul right now. They could have just triggered it in response to my Talents. But sure, go ahead and board wipe me. The Resilia here won't be destroyed because it has this effect here that Illusion and Spellcaster Synchros I have can't be destroyed by card effects. So this is exactly what I said, right? Why I did not send the Toy Tank. Now that they pop the Toy Tank, I can use the effect to bring it back, reactivate Toy Box. Do you want to use your Rage here to prevent me from setting up another set of toy cards? I could just set 2 Toy Soldiers because I have 2 left in the deck, but I opt to wait, activate Talons here to take, and I'm going to take their Pyro Phoenix, link off the tank and the Pyro Phoenix into Moon, and then that's going to trigger the opponent's Gazelle, summon, and they can send Falco to reset Counter Trap for follow-up during the next turn, which is exactly what they do. This is exactly the same way I would play Salamangreat. I activate the Moon effect, targeting the Raging Phoenix, and then I make a misplay here, forgetting that I can actually use 2 monsters now for the summon of my, Underworld Goddess. So I activate the Toy Box, reset the 2. They could use Rage here and pop my field. I activate LZ, and this is a mistake. I should have just summoned the Underworld Goddess right here, like basically upon activation of the Moon. I should have used their Princess, their Salamangreat Raging Phoenix, the Moon as 2, and then the Resilia as 1. And then that would have just left them with Gazelle. And then the Raging Phoenix, the Salamangreat Rage would actually be offline to pop 4. They could only pop 1 by activating it and sending a Salamangreat card. They have Spinny in hand, but yeah, this is a mistake because using this here, if they use Salamangreat Rage right now, I lose the game, right? Because they just clear my board. I have no additional follow-up. But for some reason, I think I was low on time. I don't end up using 2 of their materials. I just used the Raging Phoenix, which still turns off the Salamangreat Rage trap card. But I go into Underworld Goddess here. It negates the Promethean Princess and the Gazelle. The silver lining here is like you have this negated Princess on field. You can't re-trigger it in your graveyard during your turn. You have to get it into graveyard first. And you've gone through all 4 of your 2-ofs. Link 4s. You've gone through your 2 Pyro Phoenixes and you've gone through your 2 Raging Phoenixes. So you probably have none left in your extra deck. You've got 7 cards left. So we're going to go ahead and now go through the Fiendsmith, bring it back by returning the Moon, and then bring back Sylvie by returning Resilia, and then go into Requiem. Unfortunately, we can't search for another Fiendsmith here, but go into Sequence to try to fuse into, I guess, the Fusion Monster, but the Fusion Monster won't be able to summon Engraver because we have to put this back as part of the fusion. So we bait out the Rage, and you know, this does target. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't. Hold on one second. Yeah, then sorry, it does. Then target one card in the field destroyed. So it would have dealt with the Underworld Goddess if they wanted it to. But if they did that, then I would be able to fuse into Desiree, because this is also a Light Fiend that I can use for the fusion. I can return this back. We're going to use Underworld Goddess attack over the Gazelle, leaving the Princess on board. They did not opt to banish the Balinks to protect the Gazelle. So they're, you know, that makes sense because they're going to trigger Raging Phoenix now. But we're going to Underworld Goddess quick effect, negate the effect of a card that activates to special summon from the graveyard, negate the activation, even in the damage step. And then I just pass turn, right? They've got an Omni Negate counter trap, but they don't really have any follow-up, right? It depends on what they have in their hand. The Princess is negated on field, and I think the opponent thought that it was only for the turn, but no, it's a permanent negate. So they've used their hard once per turn Phoenix effect. They send Spinny, which is weird because they have a Spinny engrave, and then they special summon the Weasel. So I'm like, of course they have an extender. I need to keep them off the second level 3 here. So I opt to negate this special summon of the Spinny so they don't go into Mirage Dalio, because they could go Mirage Dalio, spin back my Underworld Goddess by linking into a Salamangreat card, and then I just lose, right? Because I have no follow-up. Like, they need to get rid of this toy box because it will pop a card, but they have Balinks to protect anyways. They use Falco, spin back the Weasel, and then normal summon Weasel, and I was like, what the heck? They go into Heat Leo, and I was like, bro, there's nobody plays this. Like, what are you like, how, right? But they're going to spin back my toy box, and I'm like, okay, that's not great, because now they can go for the Weasel. Like, the odds that because they had another Weasel, it literally messes me up so bad, because now they can go, yeah, draw a card, which is bad, but special summon fire to my field, trigger Princess. Thankfully, they use Princess at the start of their turn, so they can't use it to revive. So, you know, that misplay ends up costing them the game. What's interesting here, they use Balinks to protect their Heat Leo, whereas if they would have let the Heat Leo be popped, like they just didn't do the math, they could have triggered the Raging Phoenix engrave, and the Raging Phoenix with the Heat Leo attack boost would make it 51, right? And then 51 plus 27 is 88. And then both of those attacking over this Salamangreat of Fire is 8,000 damage. So they would have had game if they did that, but they didn't see that line. So instead they're going to go for double Heat Leo. And I have follow-up, right? I have follow-up because I have my Fiendsmith cards in the graveyard. I can bring this back up. I mean, it depends on what I draw, but I can activate this, return this. If they opt, because they do have counter trap. They could negate, which would be a problem. I do have normal summon Lurie, so maybe, yeah, I have to normal summon Lurie Link, but then I couldn't send. So yeah, it would really depend on my draw for what extender I would have had. But yeah, they Heat Leo, sure. Spin back another toy box card, but then they time out, and I was like, holy crap! Like, yeah, that was a dicey situation. The follow up for Salamangreat is actually crazy because of Princess. But thankfully, we were able to come out with that one. Playing through the Salamangreat board is just insane in and of itself, in my opinion. But the opponent made a couple of missteps there. I made some missteps too. Again, when you're on the time limit, these things happen. I was low on time. They obviously just lost the time. But that was an insane game of White Forest being able to overcome the insane first turn board of Salamangreat. Alright, so if you're still with me after seeing that crazy Salamangreat game, I guess you can see what happens when you open a pretty good hand with White Forest. So we're going to start off with the toy box, double set up the toy tank and the toy soldier. I only have the Esteller as my normal summon, so even if this gets negated, I think I'm relatively fine still, because I can bring back the toy soldier, search for a Rusia, which is my synchro play. If they impermed or negated this. They actually have a Magnamut here, which is fine because they didn't wait for me to activate my toy soldier, so I can still activate it if I can reset another one, which is funny. On the summon of Magnamut and the activation, we're going to Forbidden Droplet, and Droplet is so good in White Forest Toy Box because I can send the Toy Box cards for free. So I send Toy Tank to negate the Druid's Worm search, right? Grab a Tails off of the special summon Sylvie, searching for it from the Esteller. And then I'll be able to get this droplet back with the Diabell later. So Toy Tank triggers, summon to the field. I activate the LZ Azamina to summon itself. Synchro into Rusia here. Send the Tails, which will reset itself. Right? Search for LZ. Okay, because I sent a Speller Trap for cost, reborn the Esteller, and then synchro into the Diabell using the LZ Azamina, which is going to be able to search me the Morian trap card. It's the only Sinful Spoil cards that I play to search off LZ. And then Diabell is going to be able to recur back the droplet for my opponent's turn, which is great. Then we're going to link the Esteller, and the Toy Tank into a Moon of the Closed Heaven. Should have summoned it here, obviously. Again, like, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, that's a misplay. Send the Toy Soldier in order to summon the LZ. Yeah, because my first Toy Soldier was banned, and I think I just had one in my hand right that I set. So because of that, now I'm going to be able to trigger the Toy Soldier to summon to the field, because the opponent didn't wait for me to activate it before they banished. I searched for another Toy Box here, which is actually pretty good, because I'm going to be able to Rusia send the Toy Box on field to search for a Woes. Or sorry, not search, draw into a Woes, I mean. Which isn't great, but it's fine. We're going to go into the Omega after linking the Moon into Requiem, and Omega will hand rip. I can activate Toy Box, reset to the hand rip grabs. Oh, they're on Yubel. So we grab a Nightmare Pain off of the Omega here, and then I'm going to be able to go into Fiendsmith. And Fiendsmith equip to send. So I just got rid of 2 of the opponent's cards. They're on 3 cards. I have Droplet follow-up. I've got Trap card flip. I've got Diabell, Book of Eclipse into the Silvera, and I've got Woes that they don't know about yet. So activate Toy Box. I'm going to reset 2, so I got even more fodder for Droplet. Activate Tails. The opponent just sees enough, and you can just see playing through the limited interruption that the Dark Water deck has, but also just like dismantling them on turn 1. Kind of funny. That's the power of White Forest. Alright, if you've made it to the end of the video, we're going to cover the deck list here. As you can see, we did complete every portion of the Dual Triangle event, but the deck is pretty cool for the Light and Earth portion. We've got 1 Lori, triple Veiler, 1 Esteller, triple LZ, 1 LZ Azamina, only 1 Ghost Ogre, because I only had 1 from the bundle, didn't want to craft another one. Triple Toy Soldier, you could play 2, but 3 is not bad either. It's also just a double up as a spell for the LZ, as you saw in some of those matches if you watched them. 1 Toy Tank, triple Sylvie, 1 Rusia, 1 Fiendsmith Engraver, double Nibiru, 1 Duster as a search target for Thrust, 1 Talons as a search target for Thrust, but also just good to draw, 1 Tails, 1 Fiendsmith Track, triple Toy Box, double Call by the Grave, double Droplet, because Droplet, you know, you set up Toy Box or multiple Toy Boxes, right? You reset these cards. The Droplet is like has free material to send for negates. Absolutely insane. Triple Impermanence, 1 Morian as the search target for the LZ Azamina, 1 Woes. Your only search targets for Sylvie are Woes and Tails. I didn't really want to play the other White Forest cards. I know there are other ones you could play, but they just are bricky in my opinion. And then double Purge, because I only have 2. I didn't want to craft the 3rd. And plus, you know, Purge can be kind of bricky. It's once per turn, so 2 seemed good. Extra deck, 1 Lacrima, 1 Desiree, 1 Zapper Shrimp, 1 Silvera, 1 Resilia, 1 Psyframe Lord Omega, which you don't need to play, but sometimes can come in handy. If you watch those matches, I was like destroyed the Yubel player. It was kind of funny. 1 Diabell. The Zodiac package, you don't need the Trident, you just need the Barbo and the Chak here in order to go into the Zeus with 4 materials. But this card can get you an extra summon and a free pop to enable you maybe to attack with the with Trident and make the Zeus. Make Trident and then make Barbo on top of Trident so that you can attack directly for the Zeus. You know, maybe the Trident can take out like an interruption that would stop you from going for the Zeus, but never really came up. 1 Requiem, 1 Closed Moon, 1 Sequence, 1 Underworld Goddess. What I would say is if you have the ability to play Avermax, like cut the Trident, like Avermax is also good because you can like link off both of these into the Avermax and then use this in the graveyard to equip to Lacrima or Desiree, obviously. And then you have an Avermax on field protecting your board as well. That could be an option if you wanted to play this, but Yeah, a pretty effective deck. Had an insane win rate. I think I lost like 2 matches and I won 15 with this deck, going first and second throughout the light and earth portion. My closest match was definitely that Salamangreat to losing. The other matches I lost, I scooped one like turn zero because I was like my hand wasn't that great, and then another one the opponent just set up too much of a board and I just didn't think I could play through it. But seeing as how that Salamangreat match went, maybe I should have attempted to try to play through it and I could have gone like 15-1. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you made it this far, thank you again for watching. Quantum is out.